Hi friends, so we are a little over halfway done with 2025, and if you are feeling overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated with your progress so far, with your health goals or your life goals overall, I have good news today because I've been hearing that message from a lot of people in my community. So I wanted to do something fun, inspiring to help you get back on track with your goals. But you know, we like to do things in joy, and not everything has to be always so stressful and rigid. So let's talk about a fun way to get back on track. Okay, so Bolt has joined us for today's project. Hi, bud. Okay. So today we're going to be making not just any vision board, but a health vision board. And let's talk about why that matters. If you're like, I already know why I want to do this, just tell me how to do it. I'll put some timestamps below so you can skip ahead. But there are a couple really interesting things about vision boards. So I think all of you pretty much know that vision boards are a classic manifestation tool. They help you with visualization and getting into the energy of being the thing that you want. And law of attraction says like attracts like. So if you want to attract something, it's not enough to just want it. You need to be it. And creating a vision board can help give you visuals that help you feel into that energy. That can help you feel into that energy and help you manifest your health goals. But you know, we like to do manifestation and practical here. On a very practical level, I think that vision boards are really powerful for two main purposes. One, they are really inspirational and motivational. And let's be real, on a health journey, it is so easy to get unmotivated, uninspired. And I know discipline is the key to everything, but like, it is nice sometimes to have a little something you can look to say, oh my gosh, yes, that is what I was working towards. I'm remembering my vision, and it kind of helps you stay motivated and aligned to where you're trying to get to, which leads me to my next point. The second thing that's really helpful about vision boards is it gives you the ideal outcome that you're trying to work towards. So when I did my 9-to-5 job, I did IT consulting for a long time, and I would implement these huge multi-million-dollar software projects. And I was responsible for a lot of the documentation for these projects before I was doing as much project management work. One of the first things they would always have me do is a current state diagram. So they would say, okay, we know where we are now, but we also need to figure out when we finish this software project, what is our ideal future state? A vision board is a much more fun way than a Visio is a much more fun way than a Visio diagram to create that ideal outcome state. Sorry for the squeaky noises, Bolt is playing with the toy. So the reason that this matters is, imagine if you say, okay, I wanna go on an amazing vacation, but you don't pick out like your destination, you don't know where you're going. You could drive as fast as you want, you could have the most strategic route possible, you could have the most efficient like stops, you could identify the best places to get coffee along the way, but if you don't know where you're actually going, you are not gonna end up in your ideal destination. I mean, imagine if like you didn't voice it, but you really wanna go to the beach, but you weren't thinking about it and you just followed the roads where they led you and you ended up in the mountains instead. You're not gonna be satisfied. So on a very practical level, coming up with this big picture vision is not only motivational, inspiring, and powerful for manifestation, but it also is gonna be a tool that you can literally use with your goal planning, that you can say, this is where I'm trying to get to, and you can break up that ideal vision into actionable and achievable SMART goals, as well as mini projects and action steps that will eventually help you to achieve that ideal outcome. I'm testing out some new backgrounds. Do we like this? I feel like my face might be too high up. Ooh, look at those guns. All right. So you could just jump straight into making your vision board, but there are a couple exercises. Again, these are optional, but they can really help you tap into your ideal future self. That way you can make a vision board that lines up with the vision that you have, that sometimes we don't always know on a conscious level, but we know more intuitively, more in our soul, more in our heart. So two of the best ways I think to connect to what your ideal future self is, especially when it comes to your health goals, is one, doing a guided meditation on your ideal future self. I've been meaning to make one of those and I haven't yet, but if I make one or if I find any that I could recommend to you, I will link those down below, either in the comments or the description box. I know meditation isn't always the easiest thing for everyone, and For me personally, like I have a really overthinking mind. Like it is hard for me to get my mind to slow down, but the times that I have been able to just lean into it or push through the discomfort or maybe sit with the overthinking, but just keep at it, I always get, maybe not always, but for the most part, I get really good intel, really aligned, tuned in, tapped in intel that really helps me with whatever I'm going through at the time, including I've done many ideal future self meditations in the past. And they can be really powerful exercise to sometimes bring to your consciousness things that you're not even aware of. So meditation can really help you tap into this sort of unspoken or unconscious desire within yourself. The second thing that can be really helpful is journaling. And I know not all of you like journaling, but you can also just use these to talk through with yourself or talk through with a trusted loved one. But journaling can be a great exercise, again, to pull things out of your mind, to pull things out of your subconscious. Sometimes when you just like start writing things down, things come up that you weren't even thinking about. So I'm gonna pop some journal prompts on the screen and you can pause and then go through those journal prompts, or you can just watch this whole video through, replay it and come back to this part, pause it, bring up the journal prompts. Again, this will all be in the description box so you'll know where the timestamps are, but you can pause it and then do these journal prompts. And you don't have to do all of them, just do whichever ones speak to you. But these can be really great ways to figure out exactly what your ideal self truly looks like in the most aligned way possible. Okay, now let's talk about the fun part, which is actually building the vision board and bringing your vision to life through the actual visual elements. So you can obviously just go to Pinterest, Google, and just start looking at images and notice whatever you feel intuitively called to. Usually, if I feel drawn to an image, it's because there's something about that image that I'm really interested in. So you can look up like basically whatever you're interested in trying to find, like healthy food or fitness, and then add the word aesthetic to it. And that's gonna pull up some really nice graphics that you can use for your vision board. So just notice what you're intuitively drawn to, save those images, put them all into like the same folder, and then we'll get into building the vision board in a minute. If you want like a little bit more guidance, then I will put up two kind of key things that I like to think about. So the first one is, do you have a specific theme that you're going for? Like, is this your healthy eating era? Or is this gonna be your like fitness girly era, like you're entering your Pilates princess season, or you're like really wanting to get into hot sculpt, or you want to try lots of different workouts? Like, do you have a specific theme that you want to do? For me personally, you know, I love holistic health. Like, I think health is so much more than food and fitness, which is what I think, at least when I like first got really into like my healthy lifestyle, I was so focused on just food and fitness, and I was like, oh, if I can just get these two things nailed, like I'm gonna be like Gucci. But I ended up learning the hard way. So trying to spare you some of the stress that I have been through, I have learned the hard way that it is so much more than food and fitness, although those can be great themes. But personally, I like to take a super holistic approach. So I like to look at like all the different holistic health pillars, or kind of like multiple different themes. Like, I don't know, I just have like this overachieving mind and I like to try to tackle many things at one time. But obviously you do you. I'm gonna put some themes up on the screen here so you can pause this and get some ideas for your vision board. And another thing I think that can be really helpful is to think about, you know, I'm so inspired by Danielle Laporte and her idea of planning your life around how you want to feel. So I think spending a little bit of time imagining like, okay, the second half of 2025, like how do I really want to feel? Do I want to feel strong, energized, relaxed, peaceful? Maybe a little bit of all of that, just depending on the time of the day. I will put up some different feelings / vibes on the screen here, and you can pause that and read through and see if any of these are speaking to you. Okay, and on that note, I think it is time to build our vision board. So I'm gonna switch to sharing my screen, and I'm gonna show you how to put a beautiful, aesthetic, inspirational, motivational health vision board together so you can crush the second half of 2025. Okay, so we covered getting your pictures earlier, but just to recap, you have two main ways to get your images. Either you can intuitively select them by just scrolling through your home feed, or depending upon like what you've been like searching recently, you may not have any health related pictures in your home feed. You can also just look up something general like healthy aesthetic, health aesthetic, something like that. If you put the word aesthetic in your search, it usually pulls like very like visual, like very good pictures for a vision board, things that look really pretty. So either you can just scroll through this and then see what you're intuitively guided to pick, or if you had a specific theme or vibe that you wrote down from before, you can go back in the video to see what kinds of things were available there, but you can search for a specific theme. Like if you want to do Pilates Princess, you can just search Pilates Princess. You can add the word aesthetic. If you're wanting certain things like outfits, like something that shows more of a workout, just use this search to get to whatever pictures you're really looking for. And then like, let's say you really like this one, you can click on it and then click the 3 dots right up here, download the image, and then all the images are going to go into your downloads folder, and then you can move them into one folder. So for this example, let's say we want to do like a very like fitness focused vision board. And so we'll go through here and we'll find some pictures that show what we're looking for. So if you are a runner, you might like this kind of picture. Again, just download the picture. Another tip is when you have a picture that you like if you notice the other pictures in the home screen had like strength training and other things that weren't exactly related to running, but if you scroll down on the picture you just clicked on, it'll put more pictures that are similar to it. So for example, this one looks kind of similar. This one looks a little bit more like walking than running, but you know, you kind of get the picture. And then you can go back. You can go back to the previous group, or you can just go straight back to the home page. You might want to have something like this, for example, that even though it's not like an actual workout, like maybe perhaps for you, part of your workout life that you really want to have is like you want to work out and then you want to get coffee or matcha after. You could do this image if you really like want to do a lot of at-home workouts. You could do this image if you're wanting to incorporate more Pilates into your workout routine. Something like this would be good if you were looking to do maybe more strength training kinds of workouts. If you want to do like group exercise, this is good. Like say you want to do group exercise or you want to do outdoor workout. This one's kind of pretty and aesthetic. I mean, you guys know I love pink, so obviously that jumps out to me. Now, this really is going to depend on like what kind of workout aesthetic you're going for, because maybe you don't want to do yoga, maybe you don't want to do Pilates, maybe you don't want to do an outdoor yoga class. Like, you do you and pick the images that make you the most happy. But as you can see, you can just scroll through this, and also as you start to interact with some of the pictures, it's going to start pulling up pictures that are kind of similar to that. The more that you like engage with them and save them and stuff, then the more you're gonna see pictures like that. Okay, and then depending on what you have your settings to, it's probably gonna put all of your pictures in your downloads folder, so you can take those and move them into another folder just to organize your pictures. Okay, we're going to use Canva, which you can use the free version of Canva to build your vision board. What you basically want to do is figure out what style vision board you want to make. So I recommend doing like a background image for either like your desktop wallpaper. You could do a phone wallpaper. These are general sizes. These may not be the same size as your actual background. For example, like these sizes are, I think they're sized for YouTube, but they're roughly like the desktop size. And I've noticed that because I've made desktop backgrounds before, that sometimes they don't always fit just so. So you might want to get the dimensions of your actual desktop if you want to be really specific, or your actual phone wallpaper. But for today's video, we're just going to do desktop wallpaper. P.S. If you like this video, please give it a like. That would mean so much to me. And then you could drag these on one by one, but I'm just going to pull all of them on and start arranging them. There are a lot of different ways to do this. By the way, let me just show you. If you go to Elements and search Grid, there are going to be these little colorful like blue and green things. And so each of these are like different grid options that you could use for like a fun layout. So like, let's say we want this one. As you can see, it's gonna pull this design in here. And if you go to uploads, it's gonna show all the pictures that you just uploaded. So you can pull those in here, and then that's gonna make like a really easy, it's gonna make it just drag and drop, very simple. The only thing I don't like about this is sometimes like I wanna put like affirmations on top of this. So for example, like if I wanna put this affirmation, but like covering multiple of the boxes. I don't want it to fill the whole box. You can't really easily do that with this layout. So I actually personally prefer to just build my own layout. And a really simple layout that I've been doing in my examples is just to kind of make it like a top row and a bottom row. But you do you. You can make your collage like very complicated if you want. I'll show you some examples at the end. And you can decide how to overlap these, by the way. So one of the cool things about Canva is if you click on position up here, you can bring the graphics forward or backward. Like you could say, I don't need as much of this handstand here, so I'm gonna bring this graphic forward, and you can drag on the corners to make them bigger or smaller. And then we're just gonna basically drag these around until they are where we like them, and that they're showing like, you know, what we want to see. And you can overlap, like they don't have to go over exactly. So I could stop here if I wanted to, or I could make it quite complicated. For purposes of keeping this simple, I'm gonna stop here. But you can see, like, if you hover over this, you can see that the picture where the purple outline is much bigger, so I can pull some of this more forward or backward. I can resize this. There are more pictures behind here that I could keep playing with, but like I said, just to keep things simple, I'm just gonna stop here. Oh, another thing I just wanna show you real quick. You can just crop the image, so like let's say we don't care about that blank background, like it's not interesting to us, we think this is more interesting, you can crop the image as well. And I just hit enter to finish cropping it. And then if you want to add some text to it, so like you could say like fitness era or something like that, you can drag on this corner, or you can use the font box up here to make that bigger. So let's say we just kind of want this like going across the middle. You can click on this font up here. You can see some other fonts that are available. So if you want to just do something kind of like simple, you could pick like Helvetica. If you want to make this all uppercase, if you click on this, it'll put the whole thing into uppercase. And then if you go to elements, you could pick this box and just resize it. I don't know why it defaulted to this color. I don't really use this color very much, but you can change the color by clicking color up here in this like toolbar, and then come over this way and you can just say like, I want to click on white, or if you click on this, you can drag this tool to create a different color. So if you wanted to do like pink and you wanted like a dark pink or a pastel pink or grayish pink, just drag that around until it gives you the color you want. But I'm gonna keep it simple and just have like a white background on that. And then that way, this just makes this pop. So that is a really easy way to pull the vision board together and make your graphic. And then if you just click share, you can click the download button and you can download it in any different file type that you want. PNG looks really good, but it is typically a bigger file size. So if for some reason you're concerned about the file size, you might want to go for JPEG, but I think PNG usually looks pretty good if you are not worried about file size. Now let me show you a couple examples really quick. Okay, so this top example is probably my most complicated. So as you can see, this is a bit more complex of a collage. It's not exactly 3 rows. It's kind of like 3-ish rows, like row 1, 2, 3. And what I did is I basically just outlined all the different boxes that I wanted. I usually do the graphics first. Anything that's got kind of like background like this, for example, there were just some trees there, like I layered this on top of that. But do you, and like just play with it. Like I said, you can click on any image and you can click on position, you can pull things forward and backward. And then what I like to do is once I've got all the images placed, I like to add little affirmations. These are actually affirmation graphics that I make on my blog post, and I put a lot of these on Pinterest. So if you've seen like this kind of font style, it's probably my affirmation. I have thousands of affirmations on Pinterest now, but I like to add the affirmations and the text on top. But this was kind of just just like, this is actually my health vision board. So it's got a mix of like yoga and strength, healthy eating. Mostly what I was going for was kind of like green, feels very like a health color to me. So I wanted to have lots of pretty green foods, and then pops of pink because you know I love pink. So that's that example. This is the same vision board, but without the affirmations, so you can kind of just see the difference. Here is a Pilates princess example. I was just leaning really into the pink, classic pink Pilates princess aesthetic. And I feel like matcha is like a Pilates princess thing. So I did like a lot of different matcha things in here, and it's kind of got a similar like pink and green vibe. Lots of like girly like self-care stuff. I was just leaning really into the princess theme. I also did like a healthy eating themed vision board. This one has the more simple, just like 2x2 row. Again, I didn't use like an official grid. I just made my own graphics and just I lined everything up. And then I added, kind of similar to the fitness example, I added some text and a little bit of like a white box behind it just to make it pop. And these are desktop size, but you can do any size you want. All right, we did it. You have your beautiful, motivational, inspirational health vision board that is going to help you achieve your healthiest self, whether it's by the end of 2025 or you've made like a 5-year vision plan, whatever you felt like putting together. So let me know if you want me to show you like how to take your vision board and break it into SMART goals and actionable steps. I feel like that would be its own separate video. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.